Chapter 5. The Loose End. Success has a smell. It smells like fresh espresso, ozone, and the leather interior of a brand new Mercedes. 3 days after her promotion, Elena felt invincible. The stock was up 12%. The memorial service was planned to the minute. The firing of the Silas loyalists had been brutal but quiet. She walked into the lobby of Aethelgard Tower at 8:30 a.m., holding a latte and checking her emails. The lobby was a cathedral of glass and steel, echoing with the footsteps of New York's elite. "Miss Vance?" The voice was scruffy, unpolished. It didn't belong in this lobby. Elena stopped and turned. Standing near the security turnstiles was a man in a rumpled trench coat. He looked like he hadn't slept in 2 days. He was holding a digital recorder. "Markos Volkov," Elena said, her voice dropping 10 degrees. "The City Ledger. I thought I blacklisted you last year after that hit piece on our tax returns." "You did," Markos grinned. It wasn't a nice grin. "But I'm tenacious, and I have a question about the timeline." Elena signaled to the security guard, a subtle flick of her wrist. "I'm busy, Markos." "The 911 call was logged at 4:45 a.m., Markos said, raising his voice slightly. "But I spoke to a source at the morgue. They said based on liver temperature, Silas died around 3 a.m., maybe earlier." Elena froze. She didn't turn around, but she stopped walking. "That's a 2-hour gap, Elena," Markos said, stepping closer. "What happened in those 2 hours? Was he alone, or was someone cleaning up?" Elena turned slowly. The lobby was busy. People were watching. A scene here would be on Twitter in 5 minutes. She walked back toward him, her heels clicking rhythmically on the stone floor. She stopped inches from his face. She smelled stale tobacco and cheap coffee. "You're implying a conspiracy, Markos," she said softly. "That's dangerous." "I'm implying a cover-up," he countered. "And if I can prove you were there before the police." Elena laughed. It was a light, dismissive sound that made Markos blink. "You have a source at the morgue?" she asked, loud enough for the nearby receptionist to hear. "So you're admitting to soliciting confidential medical information? That's a HIPAA violation, Markos. And since Silas was a public figure, it's also a federal privacy crime." Markos faltered. "I didn't soliciting—" "I have the best legal team in the state on retainer," Elena interrupted, her voice hardening into steel. "If you print one word of speculation about a dead man's body temperature based on illegal hearsay, I won't just sue your paper. I will sue you." She took a step closer, invading his space. "I will garnish your wages until you are eating cat food. I will bury you in so many injunctions you won't be able to blog about the weather without my permission. Do you understand me?" Marco swallowed. He looked at her eyes. There was no mercy there. "It's a valid question," he muttered, but he was already stepping back. "It's a tabloid fantasy," Elena said. "Now get out of my building before I have you arrested for trespassing." She held his gaze until he turned and walked out the revolving doors. Elena stood there for a moment, smoothing her blazer. Her heart was beating fast, but her face was perfectly calm. She turned to head toward the elevators. And there he was. Julian was standing on the mezzanine level, leaning against the glass railing. He was looking down at her. He had seen the whole thing. He wasn't smiling. He was staring at her with an intensity that felt like a physical touch. His eyes were dark, dilated. Elena took the escalator up to the mezzanine. She walked over to him. "You have a pest problem," Julian said. His voice was low, husky. "Handled," Elena said. "He won't print. He's scared of poverty." "You enjoyed that," Julian observed. "Threatening him. I saw your face." "He was a threat to the narrative," Elena said. "I neutralized him." Julian pushed off the railing. He walked toward her, backing her slightly into a shadowed alcove away from the morning rush. He put a hand on the wall beside her head, trapping her. "You are absolutely ruthless," he whispered. He leaned in, his mouth hovering near her ear. "Most women would have tried to charm him, or panicked. You just crushed him. "Is that a problem?" Elena asked, looking up at him. "No," Julian said. His hand moved from the wall to her waist, his thumb pressing into the silk of her blouse. The heat of his hand burned through the fabric. "It's a revelation." The air between them was suddenly thick, charged with a dark electric tension. It wasn't just admiration anymore. It was hunger. "The timeline is a loose end," Elena said, trying to keep her voice steady. "If he digs deeper—" "Let him dig," Julian murmured, his eyes dropping to her lips. "He's looking for a clumsy cover-up. He has no idea he's dealing with a master." He pulled back, the moment breaking as quickly as it had formed. He straightened his tie. "Come to my office at 6, he said. "We need to review the donor list for the gala. And Elena." "Yes?" "Wear the black dress." He walked away toward the executive elevators. Elena stood in the alcove, her legs slightly shaking. She had just threatened a journalist with financial ruin, and her boss had looked at her like she was the most exquisite thing he had ever seen. She took a sip of her latte. It was cold. She drank it anyway.